Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for the final edition of
Last
Inside the Zone this high school football season. It's been fast.
It has. It always is. It always is. It's like all of a sudden it's midseason, then all of a sudden it's playoff time, then next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving weekend.
But I feel like that, when we go to high school football media day, it's like, where did the summer go? It's like,
I know.
boom, you're waiting for high school football, and then boom, it goes by in a flash. Let's talk about the awards, because obviously, not too long ago we had Snyder, we had Bishop Dwenger both go down to Indianapolis, fare very well, win a state championship. So let's start out our award show with our team of the year. It's got to be, I think, in most people's mind, between those two state champions. Who do you pick as your team of the year?
Well, I think mine is Dwenger just because of the adversity they overcame. I think going into the season, we looked at a Snyder team that could get down to state and win a state championship. Dwenger, even with the history of the program, I really thought, a lot of us thought mistakenly, that maybe they would struggle this year and at least maybe not necessarily return to form, but take that step up. Not in a million years do we think they could maybe win a state championship at the beginning of the year. Sure enough, they do it. They overcome some adversity with Coach Tone and Coach Schwarzkopf, and you look at that roster, and while it's good, it wasn't immensely talented or physically imposing and intimidating. And Coach Bojerab did a tremendous job, and his coaching staff with those guys. They played well throughout the season, peaked at the right time. They're my team of the year, the Bishop Dwenger Saints.
And I think at the beginning of the season, when we were previewing the SAC, I think both of us had we didn't have them in the top three.
It was
of the
embarrassing
SAC.
wherever we had them. Yes.
Yeah, we had Snyder, Lures, Carroll, that combination of those three, and then we wondered, is Dwenger 4? Is Homestead 4? Like where?
It was tough.
Northside had some players.
Yeah, it was tough to figure out where to slot Homestead and Carroll in the hierarchy of the SAC, and I think we thought they were both top 5, but where do we put them in the top 5? And you looked at Dwenger, and it wasn't like they had a huge amount of injuries last year. They returned a fair amount of their guys. There's so much uncertainty at the quarterback position. But Blake Pichelny last year, just a sophomore, was inconsistent. And while we weren't sure who was going to take the reins at the quarterback spot for that team, and just a lot of questions for them going into the season, they answered all of them throughout the year and surprised so many people, even us. And it was a tremendous job by them, culminating in the state championship.
And it's tough to argue with that, but I will argue with that.
You would.
Not that I don't think Dwenger is deserving. I'm going to go with the Snyder Panthers as my team of the year. I think, obviously Dwenger beat them in the regular season. I think you play that game 10 times. Snyder wins 5 and Dwenger wins 5.
Yeah.
It just happened to be Dwenger on that night. I think they're very well, on the same level in terms of ability. I got to go with Snyder. I give them the edge. That state championship game is still just fresh in my memory. But the one thing I'll say about that is, I don't know that there's another team in the state, at least on the 5A level, that could beat New Pal.
No, I mean, Columbus East you thought would be the team.
Right.
They were 2. New Pal was 1, and New Pal beat them 24-14. So
I just
very well be right.
Yeah, I just don't think there's another team that could score 64 points against New Pal. I mean, and to give up 61 and still win the game. I don't know that there's another team in the state. They just had the perfect combination of a quarterback who didn't make a lot of mistakes, fantastic quarterback. We'll talk about players of the year in a second. His name will come up. The 3 receivers, they kind of changed their game. We know Snyder for that running game, for that ground and pound. Threw the football well, especially in that game. You got Money Woods, you got Dominic Scott. You got to pick your poison on who you're going to try and stop offensively. But to me, it comes back to, could any other team in the state beat an offensive juggernaut like New Pal? I don't think they could. And I got to give the nod to Snyder in that respect.
Yeah, you're correct, and I don't think there was any team in 5A that had the offensive firepower that could keep up with New Pal. And it is amazing. You give up a school record 61 points in the state championship game, and you win the state championship. I mean, it was just amazing. You mentioned still fresh in your mind and still fresh in mine. It was just an amazing game watching that all the way from 42-14 Snyder lead, and it's 49-42. A New Pal, Steinig, just goes back and forth, and it was just a tremendous game. And I do give a lot of credit to Snyder. It's almost a 1A, 1 and 1A, 1A, 1B kind of thing with those teams of the year, because we say, well, Snyder had the potential at the beginning of the season to be there. That's almost tougher than being the underdog, because everybody knows you're supposed to be good. You have the personnel to be good, and every week you're getting a team's best shot. And to survive that week after week, with the exception of the Dwenger game, and then get down and win a state title is just as impressive as what Bishop Dwenger did.